That was my father's camera. A Minolta XE1, I think it is. You should be able to see it. It's an old, film camera, obviously. My father was a photographer in World War II. And today's a big day for me because I have been trying to get 2 rolls of film developed for like 2 years that I found in my father's camera bag. Now, my father passed away in 1988, and I never even looked in his bag. I had it, it was in storage. I never really looked at it because at that time, I had never even owned a camera in my life. Like, I had no interest in cameras, and the years went by and I went from the music business to the theater world. I'm a filmmaker now, and obviously cameras are kind of my life, or a huge part of my life. And I went back, I found his bag, found the camera, and I found these 2 rolls of film. And I've been trying to get them developed for all this time, but I haven't been able to do it because there's a process called ECN2, which is a process that they use back in the 60s, I believe, taking movie film and repurposing it for photography. I guess they had all this old film and they just wanted to use it. But the thing is, it's kind of rare and very few people develop it. And in fact, nobody in the whole country develops it. And so I finally found this place, thanks to Mr. Pugsley for my website. And thank you so much. And I packed up the rolls, sending it off to Atlanta today. And I guess I'll let you know what happens. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be anything on those rolls at all, but those rolls are from at least 1988, because that's when my father passed away. Now, I don't even know if they were shot near when he passed away. I mean, I don't know if my father had even used his camera for many years before that. So maybe those pictures are from the 60s or the 70s or the 80s. Like, I have no idea. I don't know what's on them. I'm dying to know because, it's pretty well documented that I didn't have a great relationship with my father until he got sick and he was dying and I got to take care of him. But I'm just really curious what's on that film. What was my father thinking? What was he looking at that time? I'm just curious. So we'll see if anything's on there at all. I have no idea. I'll definitely let you know. So that's for another video. But for today, I'm going to compare. I'm shooting with an anamorphic lens, a Sirui 35mm f1.8. It's an APSC lens on my Panasonic S5. And to me, this lens is like kind of similar feeling to a Helios 44-2, which is not an anamorphic lens, it's an aspherical lens. But they kind of remind me of each other. Excuse my voice, I'm still getting over something. So I'm going to go back to a place where I shot a video with the Helios, which I actually never posted because when I look back on it, I knew I could do better and I decided to use a different lens to do that video. But I have all this cool footage from that day, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to shoot some stuff. I'm going to show you some footage from that day from the Helios. I'm going to shoot some stuff with this anamorphic lens, and let's kind of look if they give the same kind of vibe, same kind of feeling, because I love shooting anamorphic. I love shooting on vintage lenses. I don't really use autofocus lenses at all. And so I thought this would be fun. So let's go out there and check it out, all right? And back to my father's camera in, I guess a couple of weeks or months or however long it takes for me to get that film back, I'll definitely keep you posted. So let's do that. All right, let's move to the other location. It's hard for me to even explain why I love shooting with anamorphic lenses. It's just a feeling, you know what I mean? And it's just, there's something about it that's just different than shooting on a spherical lens, like a regular lens. But I've been shooting with my Helios 44-2 recently, and that lens comes close to the feeling that I get when I use an anamorphic lens. And I can't really explain why, because the anamorphic is more about compression. And the thing is, like, I'm shooting at f8 right now. And I'm probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 feet from the camera, maybe 8 feet right now. And obviously it's much harder to shoot yourself like this because I had to manually focus myself, and it's just, you got to go through a lot to get it done. But it's so worth it because of the way it feels. And lately I've been shooting a lot with the Helios and I feel the same way. There's just something about it that just feels different than any other lens that I have. And you know, my other lenses feel good. I mean, I only use vintage lenses, so they all have this character to them. They feel old. They feel like they have filters on them, even when they don't. They just help me with the type of storytelling that I do. But it just made me want to come out here and kind of, I thought it would be good for a YouTube video to compare the Helios with this, you know, Sirui anamorphic lens. Now it's a 1.33 squeeze, so it's not like an extreme anamorphic squeeze, but that really only comes into account when you're talking about lens flares and things like that, which I don't really care all that much about that, you know? Like, it's cool at night, and you know, that's like superhero car chase kind of stuff. And I don't really do that kind of stuff. But the type of work that I do is more like Roma, you know, or Cinema Paradiso, or, you know, like real storytelling, small kind of films, and more intimate, drama, emotional kind of stories. And there's just something about an anamorphic lens that makes me feel like I'm like right in the character's space, you know what I mean? Like really in there, like I've crossed the line of intimacy and I'm right there with them, and I have to be quiet and I have to really respect that space, which is exactly the way I want it, you know? I want my films to be disruptive. You know, I want them to feel like you're so close that you're like, whoa, you got to be really quiet and pay attention and figure out what's going on. You are in this person's private, personal area. There goes the train. I love that sound so much. So, one of the reasons that I came out here to do this today is I just got some feedback on one of my films from another filmmaker, and it literally made me cry. Of course, I cry at like dog food commercials too, so I'm pretty easy. But it made me cry because this guy actually got the film. Like, it's not an easy film. It's about a very difficult subject, and it's definitely a film of the heart and soul, you know. And I shot it that way. You know, I shot it very intimately, very close. I made a lot of really bold choices with it. And so, as a filmmaker, as an artist, as a theater artist, as any kind of artist, the greatest feedback you can get from anybody is when they say, I felt your work, I felt it. Even if, and I told him, even if intellectually it's challenging for you, if you feel the work, that's everything for me. Like, that's all I want. I want people's hearts to be swollen. You know, I want them to feel the work. Even if you don't even want to, even if you don't even know why. Of course, I want the story to be clear. Of course, I want to communicate, and I want them to know what I'm talking about. But more than anything else, I want you to feel something. That's what I love about anamorphic lenses. I feel like you could just throw it up there and shoot it, and, you know, put it in that scope kind of aspect ratio, and there's just something about it that's different, that's grand, that's big. But if you do it in a way where you're shooting close, you know, if you're not like doing great gigantic landscapes, but if you're coming closer to the character or the subjects or the locations or whatever, there's just something about it. Something about this compression, something about the way these lenses deal with color a little bit differently because of the compression and because of the way they squeeze everything together. There's just something about it that's different, that's just more kind of gutsy and raw and kind of grainy, you know? And that's what I love about filmmaking. You know, that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to get across. That's the kind of feeling that I'm just trying to like offer to people and share. So anyway, I'm going to take some shots around here. There's really not much around here. It's just an old, I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you, but obviously that's a big pedestrian bridge back there, and I'm by a train station, as you heard. There's a bunch of beautiful birds out here. I don't know if I'll be able to catch them because they're fast. Like, they sit there, and if you get close to them, boom, they're gone. So I'll try, but I'm going to get a bunch of other close-up shots, and I'll compare it to the stuff that I did with the Helios and just see how it feels. I'm curious to see what you think, because to me, that Helios gets close to this, and you know, maybe it's because it's 58 millimeters and this is like, you know, it's APS-C, so it's 35 millimeter lens, but it's equivalent to a 52 because it's on a full frame camera. So it's a little bit different. You know, they're close in focal length. And so, yeah, I'm curious to see if you think it's similar in feeling. And I don't know what it is about that Helios lens. I can't explain it because it's a spherical lens, but there's just something about it that's different. Maybe it's the way they do the aperture, and it's kind of a complicated aperture to use it. I explained that in another video. I don't know what it is, you know. Maybe it's the distance of the glass from, you know, where it attaches to the camera. I have no idea, but there's something about it that's different than any other lens that I have. And I have these old Minolta lenses that I love so much. And I just shot an entire feature film on two lenses, a Minolta 28 millimeter f2.8 and a 50 millimeter f1.4. And I love the way it looks. I just love it so much. So yeah, there's something special about them too. Certainly different than a modern, really sharp lens, which is fine. You know, it's totally cool to have a lens like that too, because you can go into post-production and do anything that you want. But there's something about a lens looking the way it looks right in camera that's kind of inspiring, you know. And I don't know, you know, a lot of people disagree with me, but I actually love the monitor on the S5. You know, I'm sure if I used an external monitor, it would look much better, but I just use this monitor maybe because I'm used to it. But it's really inspiring to me to see what this lens looks like when I use it. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. I just made a really long video that I put out yesterday, and so enjoy that. That was like my New York City romp video that I really enjoyed doing, talking about storytelling. It's kind of like a master class in performance of storytelling, being able to talk to a camera, being able to talk to an audience, and what I think is important about that. So go back and check out that video if you have time. It's about 33 minutes long, so it's a long YouTube video. This will be much shorter, so I'm going to go get some of this footage. I'll put them up and see what you think. And thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. I'm saying this now, but it won't be the end of the video. It's all going to be visual after this. Thank you so much for the growth that I'm experiencing on YouTube right now, albeit slowly, but hey, slow burn is a good thing. So, all right, let me get to it. Let's see what it looks like. you.